So welcome, welcome, welcome. So this is the very first of several series that we're going to be several episodes that we're going to be having. I came on earlier and I said that Career Change Talks is officially back, and I see my guests. Hello. So tonight we will be sharing a live testimonial. I'm just going to invite my guests on now. So please join me. Let me add her here. I was actually trying to remember. That's you, isn't it? Trying to remember a profile, your IG handle, or is it name? No, I think I've got the wrong one. Yeah, it's that one. Right. Okay, that's the one. Hi, Monicque. Accept. Hey, so good
Hi.
to see you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really
Ah, that's great. That's great. How was work today?
Whew. In a nutshell. Whew.
Oh
No,
God.
I can't complain. It was good. It was busy, which is what I want.
Yes,
Busy my
yes.
time.
So are you going
Um,
in, or are you going in at some days?
yeah, so I'm in twice a week.
Okay,
But I was
it's not too
working
bad
from home today.
today. Okay.
But yeah,
Oh, you're
was
looking beautiful anyway. You look nice.
thank you.
I like the
Thank
earrings. Oh, anyway, I am so excited. I can't just stop smiling. You know how you're smiling from, from side to side? And you're like, okay,
you.
calm down. Because
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
super, super excited about this young lady here. And we'll
Wow.
be going into a lot of detail later. So some of you who probably remember that, how long ago was it when you came on? A couple of months ago.
It
I
was
can't
maybe
remember.
April,
Was it
maybe
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, around that. I'm Monique. So she's going to introduce herself again. So welcome anyway to Career Change Talks. Today we have the beautiful Monique, who has an amazing story to share. I'm not going to steal her shine. I'll let her share everything. I am
Mhm.
particularly excited because it has been a journey, which Monique will be sharing with us from start to finish. I was reflecting today, just midday. I was just thinking of how we had that call when the very first phone call we had. I went on for a while, and you were saying how you wanted to change, how you got my contact and
Mhm.
everything. And then you came on the program and all of that. So we will try to unpack that. And I was just reflecting, and I was so thankful, that we are here today and we have this success story that we were sort of hoping for. So
Mhm.
Monique has been on the program. Monique is now a project manager. I know she was saying she's still pinching herself to just check
Yeah.
that is this real? Is this real? So yeah, we're going to share Monique's story to you with all of you today. So for those of you, I mean, all of you, come and jump on and hear. Now, I mentioned earlier that some people, when they start this journey, it happens like, quickly for them, because let's use the example of Faith, who was on, and Faith got a success story just even before the program ended, and then others may just take longer. And there's something I always say: everybody's journey, everybody's path is different. So the fact that it happened for A when it did, and it doesn't happen for you, does not mean it won't happen. So today's story really it goes to show that because you got rejections yesterday does not mean that you won't eventually get a yes tomorrow. So what you're supposed to do is what? Persist and keep going. So Monique will share with us anyway. So let's dive right into it. Monique, do you just want to quickly share, just introduce yourself, and then we'll go straight into it?
Awesome. So, hi everyone, and my name is Monique. I am a project manager,
Yay!
and I
Yes.
Coming from like a completely non-tech background, um, and yeah, I'm just here today to share with you all, and hopefully encourage
Mm.
those out there who are considering,
Mm.
making a change for themselves.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Okay, that's great. So let's go down memory lane. Let's reflect. Let's from when you decided,
Yeah.
that you were gonna make that call. And can you just quickly, for those who probably did not listen, or maybe they haven't had a chance to listen to your previous live, because Monicque has been on live before to share her journey on a little bit. But now we're back, and we did promise that we're going to come back to share her success story. And I just thought, you know what, we have to fulfill that promise. We promised, and so we are here. So tell us about how you got to that point where you said to yourself, "It's time for a change." Can you just talk a little bit about that?
My goodness, life. Like I can only be honest. It was life.
Mm,
I was no longer happy with where I was at.
mm,
Um, I no longer had that feeling of, feeling fulfilled with what I was doing. And
mm,
it was just time for more, wanting
mm,
more for myself, and for those around me, basically. And then my brother-in-law suggested, he's like, oh, I know a lady who helps people break into tech who have just no tech background at all. Have a think about it.
mm.
Um, he gave me your contact information. I got in touch. And here we are
The
today.
rest they say is history. Great stuff. So you got to a point where you felt like it was time for a change. You wanted more. You weren't satisfied with where you were at the time, and then you decided to take the plunge. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about getting on the course, getting on the program, how that was for you, especially coming from a non-tech background and having to learn, sort of retrain and pick up new skills and new terminologies and all of that. Do you want to just talk a little bit about that? How was that for you?
If I could try to put it into how do I phrase this? The best way I can think of it is like jumping into ice cold water, and that initial shock of
Oh
like,
God,
woo,
what? What have
and then
I
you have
gotten
to
myself into?
literally, and you have to catch your breath, but then you begin to adjust, and that
Hmm.
cold water no longer seems so cold,
Cold, yeah.
and you become, you become acclimatized to it, and it starts to feel normal
Hmm.
until you
Hmm.
can swim in that said
Hmm.
cold water.
Hmm. Hmm.
It was definitely an interesting journey. There's so much to pick up, and especially and I guess it's with anything new.
Yeah.
You always have your challenges. Um, it's literally like learning to speak a new language. I'm just picking it all up, and then having to
Mhm.
balance not just
Family and
learning new
everything.
skill,
Yeah.
but balancing life in
Yeah.
general,
Yeah.
balancing yourself. In
Mhm.
my case, balancing my home, my children, my husband, and all of the above, along with education.
Mhm.
Um, it was
You're a superwoman, aren't you? Because you were,
well,
yeah.
well, Grace, and I think all of that kind of just works its way into project managing now,
Mm,
because I was graced enough to be able to just learn how to balance so quickly,
mm,
and effectively.
mm.
I think it definitely helped to get me to where I am now.
Amazing.
Um,
So, what would
yeah.
you say are the key elements, that you would, like a takeaway from the program? If you could mention a few.
Key elements that I took away: nothing is impossible. That's
Yay.
definitely on the
Mm-hmm.
top of the list. Like nothing is impossible.
I remember you saying, "Oh, it works, you know."
Right.
So I was going to ask you, was there ever no, just out of interest, did you doubt that? Okay, maybe this thing is a scam. Maybe it's not even really. It's really
You know, thankfully,
yes.
because of who referred me
Yeah.
to you in the first place, I had that element of trust anyway.
Okay. And then.
But I didn't join with, you know, the idea of thinking this is a, you know, um, a foolproof solution. It's a foolproof plan. I knew from the get-go that as much as you and the team would put into myself, I also had to put in
Actually,
just as
your
much.
own. Yeah.
And it was
Mm-hmm.
completely on my back to make sure I get
Mm-hmm.
to where I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in terms of my own journey, it was that element that
Mm-hmm.
I then had the internal conflict with in terms of
Yeah.
knowing this
Okay.
is on you, Monique,
Okay.
to
Mm-hmm.
make sure you get this done.
Okay. Okay.
So just not giving up either.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and grab the opportunity with both hands. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when you are
Mm-hmm.
presented with a wealth of information in such a
Mm-hmm.
what's the word, in such a I can't even think of the word I'm trying to use, but just a wealth of information,
Mm-hmm.
um, rich information, quality information. Make sure you're grabbing as much as you can. You don't want to then, you know, look back and be like, I wish I studied this
Mm-hmm.
a bit more, or looked into that a
Mm-hmm.
bit more. And
Mm-hmm.
I was presented with so many opportunities to learn so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy that I got my hands stuck in.
Yeah,
Um,
yes, you did. Yes, you did. You were on fire. Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
yeah,
because I mean, in your cohort, you were what the first to just get Prince 2 certified, and I thought, okay, this woman is not playing. You know, and she got the certification going, and she was facilitating. And can you just probably mention a few of the key skills that you picked up in this? Journey or the program that you would say you're actually using now that you've gotten a job?
yeah, definitely. Where do I even start? So everything right down from um,
Mm.
so I did business analysis along with project
Project
management.
management,
So
yeah.
everything from planning to scheduling, um, how to correctly identify and understand what a client wants, how to make
Mm.
sure you're delivering that, understanding how to carry a team along,
Mm.
more importantly, how to carry a team along when you've already got so much going on yourself. And
Mm.
that's your life, because
Mm.
you still
Mm-hmm.
have to go to work and you still have to show up for those
Yes,
around
you
you. It
just
doesn't
have to
matter what
balance
happens
it
at home. It
exactly.
doesn't matter what happened on the way to work. You still have to
Mm-hmm.
show up.
Yep.
And I definitely grasp the importance of that.
Yep.
Just in terms of like tech tools, tech language,
Mm-hmm.
getting a better understanding of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
the list goes on.
The list goes on. Okay, okay, that's fine. Thanks. Let's now go through. Yes, you got on the program. I know you were very hands-on. I think you were on two projects, if I remember. Simultaneously, you were sort of managing two projects. You also had, home and everything to juggle. And sometimes I used to feel like, how is she doing it? This woman is just, she was doing everything, and then you started interviewing because I think we went to CV clinic with you, you got your CV out. I think the first week of testing the waters, you already started getting calls, which was exciting to see. So now let's talk about that experience because for me, I think that's one area which I wanted to share. So you started attending interviews, and then of course there were rejections. There were interviews that we were sure you had in the bag. After we prepared. But do you want to talk about that? How was that experience for you, and what would you say were the key takeaways that you can share? I remember.
um, okay, I'll start with key takeaways first.
Mm-hmm.
You can never be too prepared. You can never be, especially when it comes to interviews, you can never be too
Yeah.
prepared. You can never think you know your
Everything,
CV
you know it
enough.
all.
You absolutely cannot find yourself in that position because, you know, for some reason nerves could come upon you, and then I had a time where I was asked a question that
You said
on
you
an
went
average
blank, I
day
think.
I
Yeah,
went completely blank.
blank.
And it didn't make sense to me why I was blank. And me as a person, when there are times if I get nervous, I laugh, and I started laughing.
Really?
Is everything okay? I was like, and I was honest. I was like, I've gone completely blank, and I think I was more so annoyed with myself. It's like, how did
you get there? How
how
did you
did you
allow that
even
to happen?
how did you even allow this to become a possibility? And I think it was just a combination of different things, but definitely just I just the concept of preparing more and giving myself enough time. And what I picked up as well is in terms of like interviewing, naturally when you're trying to get into something new and you want it like right here, right now. If they say can you interview tomorrow, you're
You
like,
just jump. Yeah,
I'm
without really,
ready.
okay.
And that's something that I definitely shot myself in the foot a couple of times, just to be,
Okay.
I'm ready, let's go.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I then didn't give myself enough time
Enough time to prepare. Okay, that's a
to,
key point to take there,
yeah,
guys.
I
Yes,
didn't
okay.
give myself, I just didn't give myself enough time to prepare in that sense. In terms of, what are the key points that I pick up? Again, you know, delay is not denial. Like, just because it's not your turn today, or it might not be your turn tomorrow, it doesn't mean your turn will never come.
Okay.
And
So on that, can I just maybe pause you a little bit there? So, because I think for me that's the key point there, I'm sort of trying to emphasize. So you had lots of interviews. Some were sure, yes, this was it, and you know you got those feedback. Let's talk about, because what I want to bring out here is the fact that we're all human, and it's okay to feel disappointed when you get a rejection. But it is what you do after that matters. So do you want to tell us about, you know, maybe let's start with the lows, you know, because we had a bit of that. And I was, because I said I wasn't going to let you go. I kept, you know, pushing. Let's talk a little bit about that. That just maybe somebody might need to hear that. Yeah. Do you want to share?
But I, you know, before the call started, I did say to myself, I'm just going to be very blunt and honest.
Please, yes.
And in terms of my personal lows, that it got quite low. So just to kind of add backstory, you know, I touched upon it briefly. You know, my purpose for, you know, starting this course was because I wanted change.
Yeah.
The change that I needed in my life was on such a grand scale. So for me, taking this jump it's this or it's nothing else. Like, this is it for you. So, you know, when I did start to put my CV out and I was getting callbacks within the next day, I was like, okay,
you got loads of that.
there's no reason. I think with my first week, I had like 3 interviews.
Yeah.
That, like, there's no reason why I shouldn't have a job within the next 2 weeks. And in my mind, I was like, I've got this in the bag. Like, there's no reason why. And, you know, it's either they didn't get back, or it was a no, or they had me doing like 25 different interviews. It was going round in circles. And it got to a point where I was like, is this going to happen? What's happening, you know? It got low to the point that it started to affect my health.
Wow.
Physically and mentally.
Wow.
And I became very withdrawn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I became very, very withdrawn. And then just day-to-day functioning became difficult.
Hard.
Even down to, you know, as you know, at the time I was doing night shifts, even down to going to work. I was no longer going to work. I was just
Really? And
okay,
this was because of,
just
you
not
know,
getting that
not
yes,
getting, yeah, that yes. So, okay.
feeling and wanting it so much
So
so.
much, right.
Um, and on the back of that, feeling like I was failing myself with all of the no's. So through it all, I then had to learn to understand that I wasn't necessarily failing myself. It just wasn't my time.
The time, yeah.
And yeah, it got very dark. It genuinely did.
Wow. Wow.
I gave up the journey many times, and I think I
Yeah.
don't know if it was God that sent you, because you called me, you was like, I'm not letting you give up.
Yes.
I refuse.
Yes.
You are
Yes.
going to cross that line. And I was
Yes.
honestly, I was just listening to you, and I was like, at the beginning of the call, I was like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You
okay,
kept
I'm
doing
going
that.
on
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
words. Just, okay, if it happens, and it got to a point of, if it happens, it happens. If it
Yeah.
doesn't, it doesn't.
Mm.
Then because of life, you then have to go back to the day or the night job, whatever, which then became more depressive. And it was genuinely like an internal struggle.
So can I quickly just sorry to cut you. So is this something that has happened to you before? Is this how you deal with?
No, no,
Really? So
no.
what would you say was the main, what sort of got you to that point where you felt as low as you just described?
It literally was. It's just an accumulation of
Mm.
life circumstances,
Mm.
and like needing this
This
change.
thing
Like,
to
it
happen.
has to happen. I
Mm.
refuse to see anything else other
Yeah.
than this
Wow.
change come
Wow.
to pass. Nobody can come and tell me that you are not going to make this happen, because I'm going to make it happen. So if it meant that I was going to work at 10 p.m. and getting home at 7 a.m. To then start my project work at like 9 a.m. and be
Mm.
working through the day, and then when
Mm.
everyone gets home in the evening, be working until 10 p.m. to then go back and do night shift, I was gonna do it. I was gonna do
Wow.
it because I needed the
Needed
change.
that change.
I needed the
Wow.
change. I needed the change.
Wow. 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 This
And
is intense.
yeah, I'm thankful for the
Intense.
support system. I'm thankful for the support that, there were so many people that reached out to me from the team. And I will openly say I ignored a lot of people.
Really.
I ignored them because it was
You
just a
couldn't
mixture of,
express how you were
I
feeling,
couldn't,
really.
I
Yeah.
couldn't. From disappointment to feeling like I was failing,
Mm.
to feeling like I was letting people down. I couldn't express that.
Wow.
So I just shut down.
Mm.
And but in them reaching out, it made that difference. You
Mm.
yourself, you reached out. There are many ladies that reached out, like, just checking in. I hope you're okay.
Mm. Mm.
I got the voice notes, I got the calls. There was one lady specifically, she was very persistent in the telegrams, the voice notes, the WhatsApp. She'll call me.
I think I kind of know who that
Yeah.
was.
And honestly, Auntie Faleke, she
Yeah.
definitely kept me going. She kept me going. And I
Mm.
can only be thankful, obviously, the support system at home as well,
Mm.
that kept me going when I gave up.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay,
I
let's talk about what moved the needle. So
Mhm.
this was really low, and I mean, just listening to it is almost making me feel like, oh God, I have, sort of goosebumps. But I sensed all of that, and the thing is, it wasn't. I didn't know the extent of the low, but I'm very familiar with people getting to that point where they're almost giving up, or even, I mean, eventually some people give up. And so that's why I didn't want to let you go, because it's just something that I can relate with
Yeah,
and I've
yeah,
seen before. And so I kept saying, it may seem like it won't happen, but you've just got to push through and all of that. So I think from experience,
yeah.
I just said, okay, now let's talk about So I know some weeks I called you, I messaged and all of that, and you kept going, yeah. But somehow I could sense that it was more a case of, okay, let her just just finish what you have to say and just leave me alone, sort of thing, which I kind of sensed. But I kept just trusting and praying. And so, what happened? At what point did you say, okay, I've got all the rejections, I've got all the no's and the disappointments. What moved the needle? Let's talk about that.
I think it was just after a point in time where I actually did give up and I just stopped applying. And one of the other ladies got her success story.
Ah.
And I was like, do you know what?
Mm.
I'm doing the same journey that you did. Like, if you've done it, surely
Yeah.
mine is around the corner. Everybody kept saying it, it's right around the corner. Like, hold on, hold on,
Yeah,
hold on.
yeah, yeah.
And I can't remember who I was having the conversation with, but they were telling me a story about something else. But the main point of the story was the concept of giving up just before your finish line.
Yes,
You never really know where that finish line is.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine giving up today and your finish line is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then, so within that same season, I picked myself, I said, okay, do you know what? I'm going to, continue the journey.
Yeah.
And I remember when you get those random emails from like the jobs, etc., and they say, we have like 1,000 new posts, etc. So I said, okay. And I saw there was like within my search criteria, there was over 2,000 job posts available. And I said to myself, are you really telling me that out of these 2,000,
one isn't for me?
I just need one. I don't need all 2,000. I just need one.
Yeah.
And I think that was it. Just the combination of it. Just, do you know what? I firmly believe that God has kept me through the process, and I believe that along the way He just sent little reminders and nudges here and there. And it was a matter of me kind of just allowing Him to move in that sense, and not being so not throwing myself a pity party and wallowing in my own tears and just getting myself up and saying you kind of just need to do this. And funnily enough, I remember when I first started, and within the course you have to write down why are you doing this.
With the first stage one.
So I went back over mine and I just saw
brilliant.
whys, and I was like, you know what,
brilliant,
pull yourself together.
Brilliant.
Because you
remember your why. I
I
always say that you will get to that low, but
honestly,
because you've done that exercise, you can refer back to that. Yes, which is great.
Exactly.
That's great. That's great. That's great.
And I think
That's
it's
great.
a combination of all of that.
Yeah. So was it a case of when you decided, okay, it's time for me to pick myself up, dust myself up, and then did you now start reapplying? And do you want to tell us about that and how did it now get to where we are today?
So I started reapplying. I had several. I think my CV. I don't boast. I don't brag, but my CV just seemed to be attracting recruiters. So I had many, first step calls. But because I was still kind of in that season, I don't feel like I approached those calls as I should have.
Okay.
So even though I decided to pick myself back up, I was still not getting. But I had a different mindset. It was, do you know what? I'm not going to be down about it. I'm just going to keep going.
Okay.
And I just kept going until I arrived here again. Okay. Yeah.
So tell us about. So this one was, was it how many stages of interview? And would you say you did anything differently in this one?
I relaxed.
What would? Oh, good.
I relaxed. So, because I knew at the time you were still doing CV clinic, and I know I dropped in and out, and I think the me dropping out was again the frustration of why am I not quite cracking this thing. But I did my prep deck.
Okay. Yep.
I did my prep deck and I made sure I had all my questions there and I felt ready. But I was just myself. I took it easy. I didn't try to sell them a story. This is me. This is what I can do. This is what I've done. If it's what you want, it's what you want. If it's not, it's fine. Because there'll be somebody who I will be what they need, you know? And that's the attitude that I went in with. So that was so it was the initial call. And then he said, okay, you've been invited to a first stage interview. Had the interview, the prep that worked to breeze. I was then invited to the second interview, and it was all quite in such a short space of time, like within a week of each other. And I also obviously still had my prep deck, but that went completely out of the window because the interview, it was just random questions. And because I was calm and chilled, I was able to articulate much better than all the other interviews.
Wow.
And it went well. Everything was good. And then I was just waiting.
So how long did you wait between the time you had the second stage of interview?
It was not even from the time of the second stage to starting. It was like,
yeah, I mean, you had to start a few days. Yeah.
Yeah, like 2 weeks or so. Like it really was. The whole process itself was just quick, sharp. It was so quick, and something that gave me such encouragement. When I was, when I got back in touch with the recruiter, he said there were over 2,000. That's a lie, not 2,000. Sorry, 200 applicants. And he screened down to 30. 15 went through to first stage, and then 3 went through to second stage.
Wow.
I ended up with the position, and that was such a confidence booster because when you've gone through, so I started
all of that, sort of second guessing yourself, doubting yourself and everything, and then you get that.
Completely. I was like, you know what, Lord, thank you. Like, thank you. And along the journey, and even along the journey, I found myself trying to encourage others as well, saying, we're gonna get there. Inside I'm crying and I'm shedding my tears. But I'm encouraging other people, we'll get there. And I always said, when it's your time, it will be your time, and what's like what you will get,
it'll be easy,
perfect fit for you. And I think I've completed my second week now, second week. And
you're going to tell us about that. I was going to ask that. Okay, so eventually, so just before we do that, let me just do a quick recap. So for those of you just joining, I can see people sort of trickling in and out. So Monique joined the program, and she started off really quickly. Got her priesthood certification like that, and got really sort of stuck into the whole work. Got her hands dirty, and she was on 2 projects. Then we did the CV clinic. She started interviewing, had interviews immediately, because I think your CV was also another magic CV, like Fate's one, as all of that. But then I guess where the hang up was where you started having rejections and, some disappointments. And then you went, down that path. And it took some time for you to get back up again. And so for those of you who listen, I know somebody asked a question. I'll answer your question in a minute. And if you've got any questions, please pop it there while we sort of try to round up. Now, and so for those of you who probably I've been chatting with a few people in the DMs. Some of you have been applying. Some of you have done everything. You've ticked all the right boxes. And it just seems like, it's not happened yet. So I wanted to bring this story to say that because you got 10 no's last month does not mean you won't get a yes. But I guess the question is, how do you navigate that? What do you do? So it's a couple of things. Monicque has already mentioned a few. It is mindset. Some of it is preparation. So when you want something so much, you're so hungry sometimes, and it happens to all of us, we get like, oh, I just want to just going head first, where sometimes you might just need to take a step back and, be calm. You said this last one was you were just calm, you took it easy, you didn't come from a place of, what's the word now? Sometimes you get like, oh, I'm trying to find a word. You just get to like, I just want this thing, like,
Desperation.
yes, desperation is
Literally
the word.
desperation.
Desperation, never get to that point where you're desperate, because if you get to that point, you won't be functioning at your best. Desperation is never a good thing. So you need to take a step back. Yes, you didn't get it through, you didn't get the yes now. What can you learn from it? What can you do to sort of be properly prepared? So or for some of you, it might be your CV is not getting that, bringing the calls. Maybe you need to get a coach. If you've been doing it on your own, maybe you need to look at that CV again, and a lot of things that you can do. And then once the calls start coming through, you're attending interviews, you're not getting a yes, it might be your presentation. So you just need to go to the drawing board and say, what can I learn? Rather than giving up, or rather than saying it's never going to work, or maybe this and that. You just need to say, what can I learn? What can I improve? Because that's just something that we talk about. So Monique went to a point where she was having lots of calls, lots of interviews, but wasn't just getting over the line. And then she went through that low, and eventually picked herself up again. And Monique eventually got her breakthrough. So that's what this journey has been about, just for those of you who obviously have missed it. So tell us about, now you this is week 2, isn't it? How
Week
has that
2.
been? How you finding it?
I'm love it. Honestly, I'm loving it.
Wow, that's
I'm
great. That's great.
loving it. And I just go back to the point of when something is for you and your time. I genuinely feel like it was like this specific role was made for me in
Oh
terms of the
wow.
flexibility. So even, for example, our eldest is she'll be starting secondary school next year, and I
Wow.
had the freedom to go with her to visit a secondary school this morning, still
That's
come home and
good.
carry on with the work day. Like
Wow.
it
That's it, isn't it?
wasn't
That's the
problematic,
flexibility we're looking for. Yeah.
honestly. And I always said, like, I need a place that's going to be understanding of my home setup.
Mm, mm,
A place that um isn't going to give me stress,
mm.
and because that's so important. You don't want to go to
Yeah.
a place of work and be stressed or
Yeah.
be having unnecessary issues. And I've got a really great team. Everyone's so supportive, and it's such a cool place to be.
So in
um,
terms of the actual work and the skills that you would say you've picked up from the program, how is that translating into you being able to actually do what your tasks are and things?
yeah, so in terms of, because there's still some training I'm doing at
Okay.
present. um so everything that I've learned on the course has made my training process that much smoother.
Mm.
So when they're coming back to me like, how have you already finished this thing that should have taken you X
Mhm.
amount of time, I could just sit
Mhm.
back and smile and be like, well, you
Mhm.
know, actually great. Like,
I'm just great.
honestly, I'm finding that I'm just whizzing through a lot of things,
Oh,
which has
that's
then
good.
positioned me to be
Mm.
able to take on, um,
More.
to be able to take on more at a
Mm-hmm.
faster pace than
Mm.
than I would have if I didn't go through the process, and I didn't go
Wow.
through the journey.
Wow.
Um, and
Great.
it's nice to walk into somewhere new, and
And you
you know
know, you know,
I
you,
think
you
I
can
know
hit
what
the
I'm
ground
doing.
running. You know what you're
Yeah,
doing.
literally
That's great.
hitting the ground running. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
That's great.
And that
That's
it's
great.
good. It's really,
That's
really good.
great. Okay, so I'll quickly answer a question there. Someone was asking, what's this course about? So, what we do, we're called Sterling Careers Limited. We're established in the UK, but we have a global reach. And we offer training in project management, business analysis, data privacy, and PMO at the moment. And so Monique was just sharing her experience. She came onto the program, spent 9 months, I think, in total, and has just secured a project manager role. And so we've just, we're sort of going through Monique's experience. And so with us, you come on, we first of all start with like you are in classroom virtual, it's all done remotely anyway. So you start with a couple of classes where it's all theory, tutor led, and then when you finish, we then put you on real life projects. Our projects are not fictitious, they're not made up projects, they are real projects. And so you get on on any of those projects. Monique was on one external client project and one of our internal projects as well. Okay, so someone is saying congratulations to you, the heart stylist. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so Monique was on two projects happening at the same time. We are quite hands-on as well, so it is very intense. We say it's not a walk in the park. You've got to put everything in, and like we also say that you learn by doing, and you get what you put in. So because there you may come on and you're just a lurker, you're not getting your hands dirty, it'll take time for you to really get there. But Monique was one of the ones that went all in, and so we help you. So it's 6 months at the moment. So the program has changed slightly. So a 6 months program where you go through the theory and then you work on live projects so that you can pick up the relevant skills and and confidence, because this will help you eventually. Like Monique has just said, because of what you learned on the program, you were able to hit the ground running as you got this job. So what should take you, I don't know, several months is just taking you a matter of weeks because of what you have picked up on the program. And that is something we pride ourselves on. There's a lot of support as well from myself and the team, and there is an amazing community where everybody works together and we all support and share each other, one another. So if you want to know more, I've got there's something coming up on the 27th. So it is a workshop happening, and you can come on and to find out more. Or you could go to the link in my bio there if you can get to our website as well. So we are, very, very excited about Monique's story, and I just had to bring it on here to share. So for that person out there who is thinking of or just on the verge of giving up, listen, I hope you can listen to Monique's story. So if you join later, please go back and watch everything and just listen to how she went through from high, very high. I remember you were like on fire and then to a low, and then able to pick yourself up again. And today we are celebrating you as a project manager. So in closing, final words that you can say to people and that you can share maybe about Sterling Careers just as we close. Your final words.
In terms of Sterling Careers, there may be other institutions and groups that are out there, that are doing and just say, I'm not being paid to say all this, by the way. Genuinely from my heart. Genuinely from my heart. Like the support is surreal. The type of projects that you get exposed to is surreal. Like you will really feel the feel, like you really grasp. There's there's support, but there's no babying. There's definitely
we don't. We prepare you for the real world. Yes,
exactly, and that's definitely something that I loved. But I can only keep banging on about the support, and just the quality of the theory, and then just the provision of the platform to then put that theory into practice, and the fact that the learning management system that you guys have is second to none. The fact that you can then balance your lives around going back and learning over things if you didn't quite get it the first time, etc. And just in terms of like final words to anyone who's thinking or contemplating about a change they might want, or a change that they know that they need, Change is a scary thing. But if there's anything that I've learned to live by is just feel the fear and
And
do
do
it
it
anyway.
anyway.
That's it.
Yay.
Feel the fear.
Great. Right. Thank you. This was meant to be just a short one, but
Sorry.
we've almost gone for an hour.
Oh my God.
But I know. But thank you so very much. I can't express how chuffed and how excited I'm happy that we got here,
Honestly.
in the end, against all odds. And as I was preparing to come on, I just said, this is why I do what I do, because my heart just wants to explode when I see someone actually get a transformation. Jumoke is going to come on and share as well at some point, and I know how it was for her as well. And it did happen. Probably next week, I don't know. But when I see this sort of transformation that all of you are getting, I just feel like this is why I wake up in the morning and I go to work, and I am so excited, so happy for you, and I'm sure you're going to continue to do exceedingly well. And you'll be a good, I know you're a good resource already to that organization, and you're just going to keep, soaring high. So I wish you all the best. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for all the kind words about starting careers. And I'm so happy that we were eventually able to come back to share your success story. So just keep soaring high, and super, super proud of you, Monique. But super proud of how far you have come. Okay, so guys, there you have it. And of course, any questions, please pop it in there. You want to have a chat with me quickly in the DMs, please feel free. And that's what we do. We're passionate about helping people, to make that get that transformation. So you don't have to start with a technical background, which Monique didn't have. You don't need to learn to code. You don't need to learn programming languages to break into tech. And we will show you how, to leverage your existing skills and to pick up additional relevant skills to give you that foot in the door or the confidence to get out there into that dream career within the tech space. And that's what we're about. So thank you very much for everyone who's tuned in and stayed on through. All of you who have been saying congratulations to Monique and all the thumbs up and all the cheers. Thank you very much. And until I come your way again for another episode of Courage and Talks, take care and keep pushing. Don't give up. Okay? Thank you very much, Monique, and have a good evening. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care. Bye.